beaten, as Jason Jones is with us now. Excuse me, the professor, Jason Jones, with us now. Professor, did you have an opportunity to hear Mike Brown at his introductory press conference today?
I did, and I had a little fun with it on Twitter. I didn't realize. It's always nice to know that people still hate your existence. So,
oh my gosh,
that feels excessive.
It's always good to know that people take the time to follow you because they can't stand you, and because you don't parrot what they want to hear. You're a hater. So, I mean, it's always fun. I'm glad that those 8 people still missed me.
Hey, well, you're missed and loved here in Sacramento still, even if they don't.
Well,
even if they think you're a Lakers fan. Well, you are a Lakers fan, but they think you're a mole for the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm doing a picture. Yeah, because I'm the reason why the Kings have struggled. Yeah, because the Lakers sit around trying to figure out in 2022 how to stay ahead of the Kings. Yeah,
I have to be fair to all of this though, because I'm on Jason Jones' Twitter page, and Jason, all he did was tweet something I said. The Mike Brown head of the snake reference. Jason didn't love it. I didn't love it either. I ain't mad at that tweet.
All I'm saying is we've been hearing head of the snake for how many years?
Yeah.
I mean, when Luke said it, people rolled their eyes. Igor said it, oh, here we go. But when Mike Brown said it, all of a sudden it's revolutionary thinking. Oh, my God, shut up. I'm like, we've been hearing head of the snake, and he can be a great defender for years.
Yep.
I
didn't like it either.
I don't think it's hate to say that we've heard that, for years. I mean, the real question is, what becomes of that? Because we've been hearing that kind of talk for years. He's the head of the snake, and what you're basically indirectly saying is that our success and failure, or not even indirectly, it's tied to De'Aaron. Mm-hmm. So why is it crazy to say that? Like I said, when Luke called De'Aaron the head of the snake, fans rolled their eyes and like, here we go again. I just need Mike Brown to say he needs to go watch the tape.
Oh, goodness, please don't.
I just need him to say please that. And then I will have my bingo card for Coach Cliches will be filled, and I will be excited and laugh because people go, oh, my God, here we go again. But a lot of that is just losing because a lot of the coaches – they pretty much say the same thing after games. but when you're losing, you don't want to hear, I got to watch the tape. If Steve Kerr has to go watch the tape, it's like, okay, they're tweaking something to go win another game. It's like, oh, here we go. What can't you? It's all fun and games to me. I find it funny.
And you know what, Jason? The thing about this is, first of all, they should start using more of what I say, which is the straw that stirs the drink. That's the way to go every time. Second of all, unfortunately, it gets lost because we've heard it a number of different times or whatever, but he's not wrong. Like what he's saying is right. Like I believe what they do for the entire season. But if you want to talk about perimeter defense and guarding, it should start with De'Aaron Fox. They need him to be the guy that is the catalyst. He doesn't always have to be this defensive stopper, but he's got to be the guy that communicates the most. He's got to be the guy that leads by example, sets the tone. And I do believe if he's able to do that, a lot of people will follow. But Mike Brown saying it like, yeah, it's a term that we've heard a bunch of times here in Sacramento, and we're kind of tired of it. But he's not wrong.
No, and I think for two things. One, people who have to use paper straws aren't going to want to hear the straw that stirs the drink. It's going to scare them.
I mean, I want to save the world too, but I don't want the paper straw.
And if you just look at the Kings, look at when they won for the 39 games. Look at how many games De'Aaron played. And then look at the other seasons. I mean,
it's one game that year, right? One game?
I want to say it was 2 or 3. It was no more than 3, is my guess. And to me, it's clear the correlation between the Kings' success is tied to De'Aaron. It's clear. When he's out there more and he's playing well, the team does. I mean, it's not like it's like, a revolutionary thinking. I just think, when you keep hearing the same thing over and over and over, and it's kind of like, okay, so, all right. But when I watch a press conference, I'm not expecting to hear anything really deep anyway, because, well, if you lose the press conference, this is, the last guy I remember losing the press conference was Adam Gase. And that's because he looked like he was on some other stuff that day.
Don't forget my man Jim Tomsula too. That was tough. My boy Jim Tomsula, that was tough.
I didn't. I don't expect a whole lot from the presser. It's more at this point.
Adam Gase looked like an episode of The Wire. Boy, that
Adam Gase did something before
he was in the interrogation room with McNulty. Like it was.
Yeah.
Just for accuracy's sake, you Jason Jones. De'Aaron missed one game that year. Played 81 games.
I thought it was something like that.
I remember it. I do remember this. You're talking about memory. It was a planned game off. Remember, it was that game in Toronto where I think Marvin started at like 22 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like, we don't want to run De'Aaron into the ground. We're going to give him.
Yeah, because there was some concern at that point that was he going to hold up? Let's give him a break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and oddly enough, now he's had some more issues after that season. But I just think it all comes back to De'Aaron with this team. No matter how you slice it, it comes back to De'Aaron.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. We have gone over the number of ways that this team can improve this offseason, whether it's drafting or improving this week, whether it's drafting or trading that pick. You've been around the Sacramento Kings team for a very, very, very long time. You've seen it essentially all, and it's all been bad. What direction would you take to make sure that this team is better next year?
I'd probably take Jaden Ivey.
Did you draft?
Okay. I don't know because I come from a different approach. I know there's kind of an edict that makes the playoffs next year. I don't know if that's realistic. And I look at the Kings' history under Vivek. The last time there was a make the playoffs or else edict, they fired Michael Malone because his best player was sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think you've got to be a lot more pragmatic and realistic about what you got. And you can't go into this is me assuming you're keeping the picks and also assuming you're not going to get a star caliber player for number 4. Now, if they were number 2 of the draft, that might change some things. Maybe you can then swing a Bradley deal or someone like that. Mm-hmm. But at 4, I don't know if you're going to get that guy. So to me, I take the guy who seems to be the best player at that spot. And you want to make the playoffs next year, but to me, in order for the Kings to eventually become a playoff team, they've got to start being realistic about where they are. And I don't mean from the management perspective, like Monty. I mean from ownership. You got to be realistic about what you've got. And say you come in this whole idea, because we all know that Monty's contract is not in line with with Mike Brown's contract. What if you go in there and you win 37 games next season, miss the playoffs, and then say we want a new GM? We're back where we started, and now you got another coach with a GM who didn't hire him. I mean, and it's crazy because we can all see this on the horizon.
Yeah,
we can all envision this happening, and it's not crazy talk. It's just you can really see this happening. But the same way we all went into last season saying they'll probably fire Luke after 20 games. Like we all knew that going in. So it's it's just at some point you got to be realistic about where you are, and they're in this space where they're not bad enough to be like the Rockets or the Thunder, but they're not necessarily good enough to be top 6. So I would just keep building on what I got, and if that means taking Jaden Ivey, if he's the best player, I think you take him and worry about the other stuff later.
And so I'll flip that around a little bit, Jason, because we talk about the draft and drafting guys. I know you witnessed it with Cuz. We see it with De'Aaron Fox. And my argument has been the Kings always make a draft pick. Always. Every year. And it almost, aside from Fox and Cousins, it never really works out. I mean, Halliburton was good too. Davion was solid. But no, there's no game changers. They never get the game changer. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, why not try to use that asset of your draft pick for the first time probably ever? They've never wanted to package their pick that year or future picks and all this other stuff because they always want to make the draft pick. If you have an opportunity to get a guy, and I don't think that John Collins or Kyle Kuzma or Julius Randle are all-stars, but I do think if they're on your team, you're a better team next year, and you use that as the first step to becoming the playoff team that you say you want to be. Why not trade the pick, swap the pick? That's what you would be doing for somebody else in the lottery and gain a starter and maybe a rotational player in the same way. And that's how you build. Like, that's how you try to get out of the in-between stage. Because like you said, you're not good enough or bad enough to tank all the way like Houston, but you're also right now not good enough to take a rookie and think you're making the playoffs. So
I'm not opposed to them moving the pick. I just don't know if they're going to get what they want for 4. Is why I think they'll keep it. I mean, if they can, I mean, to me, if you a front court of Harrison Barnes, Sabonis, Kyle Kuzma, De'Aaron Fox, and whoever you put at the 2, that's a competitive team, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Is it a playoff team? I don't know, but it's competitive. So I think you definitely look at it. I mean, I don't think you don't look at it. I just don't know, based on everything I hear, if what they're going to be asking for, you're going to get that with the 4th pick. And if you're not going to get what you want, you make the pick. But I definitely hear what you're saying. If it's about, if it's really about getting to the playoffs, you're going to move that pick and try to get get an instant upgrade and just to try to improve the immediate depth, because whether it's Keegan, whether it's Jaden, whether it's Shaden, whoever it is, odds are that guy isn't going to get you into the playoffs just by his presence alone. I mean, you saw Toronto got in with Scotty Barnes, but they also had a Fred VanVleet. They also had who became an all-star. And they had a Pascal Siakam who would have been an all-star.
Mm-hmm. We got De'Aaron and Sabonis.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they had 2 all-stars already.
Okay. All right. Don't be so dismissive.
Broadcast journalist, I'm just asking questions.
So if you take Damian's point of view, that means De'Aaron has to make the All-Star team.
Well, no,
and then you have now mimicked what Toronto did. Mm-hmm. But even still, the odds are that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's based on the situation. But I'm all for exploring every single option, and I think if you keep the pick, take the best player available. And you go from there, because that player then becomes an asset. People forget when, even though it didn't become a championship team, you look back. Remember, people thought Brooklyn was crazy for trading Derek Favors for Darren Williams. Mm-hmm. And it was like, you're trading the number 2 pick in his rookie year. I think in the end, they got the best player out of the deal with Darren Williams, because you got a proven commodity. So even if you draft a guy and you move him 3 months from now, you never know what that pick can turn into. So you take the best player and then you roll from there and see what happens. And the one thing I do think we can see from Monty has no problem taking the best player available regardless of position. Right. He is not going to shy away from a guy and say, hey, well, we need a 3, so maybe if the player who plays the 3 is our 8th best player, we're going to take him at 4. He's not going to do that.
Right.
Now if you trade down and get that guy, that's wonderful, and get some assets along with it. You look at what Atlanta did to get Trae Young. They moved down to a couple of spots that year, right. And allowed Dallas to end up with Luka. So I mean, there's different ways to get around it. I just think you got to know what your game plan is going in, and also, like I said, be realistic. It's one thing to say we got to make the playoffs, but you also got to look at if you look at the team and say, is this a playoff team? And we'll have a better idea in the fall. But I just kind of, if I'm a Kings fan or just an observer, when you start already reading stuff before the draft, it's playoffs or bust next year. It's like, this could be interesting.
You damn right, it's playoffs or bust.
But is that realistic?
It better be. Make it real.
Well, we got to see what the team looks like.
Make it enough.
make it.
That's what it is.
They gonna have Mike Brown looking like Smokey and Friday.
That's it. Make it enough. I gotta
talking on the phone
before you go. Your opinion on the report that the Pacers turned down a deal that would have sent Malcolm Brogdon to the Los Angeles Lakers for, allegedly, Russell Westbrook, Talen Horton-Tucker, and a 2026 first-round pick.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
The season ain't even started. Jason's already defeated. He's so sick of the Lakers.
I don't know if I'm Indiana if I do that anyway.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, because I mean, to me, if you're Indiana, you've made that. You're going to take Russ and wave him. You're not going to keep him. And you're really trading for THT.
Well, you're really trading for that pick next year too. I guess it depends on how long the Pacers' rebuild plan is.
Yeah, I mean, and the Pacers are one of those teams that aren't really big fans of we're going to be rebuilding. They're going to try to retool and try to, But I think the Pacers have so many different moving parts, besides Brogdon. What do you do with Miles? They got a lot, and there's no need for them to rush and make anything happen. But I've also learned, too, a lot of times those deals that were allegedly offered and turned down weren't nearly as close as people would say they are. So who knows? I mean, I see John Wall's going to make $47 million next season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the contract of the century. I don't think John's played since before the pandemic.
I don't think he has either. It's been a long.
I think he beat the Kings just last year, didn't he? He beat the Kings twice.
He went to work on the Kings. Yeah.
John Wall beat the Kings twice.
Yeah.
Oh, it just feels like John hasn't played for Houston ever. It just feels that way.
He showed up just to beat the Kings a couple of times, and then he went back to not playing.
Add him to the list of random guys who showed up just to beat the Kings. And no disrespect to John Wall. I mean, I think just call him one of the random guys. But we've seen a lot of guys who just beat the Kings, and then we don't hear from them for a while.
Jason,
KCP shows up and gives the Kings 30 at least once a year. Makes 7 threes and then makes 7 threes the next week.
Yeah.
Total.
John Wall has played 40 games in the last 3 seasons.
God, is that many?
Yeah. And it was actually, he beat the Kings. It was actually 2 seasons ago that he beat the Kings.
He looking like an Iron Man playing 40 games. He's an Iron Man. Can't keep him off the court. I thought he was more around 15.
See, that's when you're fully committed to the tank. You're like, we got a former All-Star guard on the bench. Nah, we don't need you. Oh yeah, he played that last season where James went to Magic City or whatever instead of training camp and showed up with the fat guy suit.
And John and DeMarcus were that one press conference after the game. They're like, "Yo, this." the press conference is like, "Yo, we gotta get this guy out of here." And James was gone.
This ain't cool, man. This dude out here just don't care. And now James has been on 2 other teams since, and all my friends who are Philly fans are dreading paying James Harden $50 million next season.
Man, that is a cold game right there.
Hey, real quick, Jay, what do you do what you gonna do for the draft, man? You just watching it and tweeting alongside of it, or they got you working?
Because the Athletic doesn't have beat writers for a few teams, I'm actually going to be our Kings draft guy.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure no matter what I say about the pick, it'll be with hate. I used to be like, I like this Jaden Ivey pick.
Bet you wish he was on the Lakers.
He must have been a Lakers fan, is why you said that. I'm like, okay. Some of the irrational, to me, it's just good laughs. Some of the tweets I get, no matter what I say, it's like, it's a very small portion. It's not like it's a lot of people. It's just they got to jump out there and like, we don't like you. I'm like, why do you follow me if you don't like me so much? Like, I haven't covered the team all season. There's really no logical reason for you to follow me.
It's the same for people.
If you want Kings news, I mean, like, why are you following me? Like, you hate us. I really don't even know you. And no one believes me when I tell them I like a lot of people in the organization. I don't get any joy out of the Kings losing.
Jason,
know people over years.
Jason sounds like good old JR railing on Twitter on his podcast. Like, there's probably only a handful of people that get that reference, but Jason is going good old JR on Twitter right now.
That's what I'll be doing on Thursday. I'll be doing that actually amongst I'll be helping with our news. I'll be doing 3 things total. So
stuff.
Yeah, but I'll be writing our Kings analysis and what I think about the pick and if they move down or.
He's coming home, just like LeBron James. He's coming home.
Yeah. I'm about to get ready for the. I would take Jaden Ivey. I don't care if he's halfway. I guess it wouldn't be the worst spot. That was hilarious to me.
It wouldn't be the worst.
That's like, dang, man. I mean, I like that one girl. I guess her friend is okay. I guess. But hey, some of the best situations in league history have been like that. I mean, Steph Curry wasn't exactly giddy about.
Documented.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be of all things a Knick.
Yeah.
So does Kenny.
Steph at the Garden would have been crazy. You want to talk about a movie? Wow.
Did Steph break the record at the Garden?
Yeah, he did.
I thought so. I don't know why that stuck out in my head. Yeah, Steph broke the record.
Yeah,
at the Garden.
just because it's the Knicks, and we know Kenny loves Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
the Mecca.
The Mecca.
You know, how come he doesn't get hate for that?
I don't know. He hates
There's nothing to
Sacramento.
hate about. Everybody knows it's the Mecca. Everybody knows I'm a Knicks supporter.
He hates Sacramento.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Wait, hold on just a damn minute.
Between LA. Hey, yo, Jay, did you know this man bought his son a Dodgers hat the other day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Kenny. I'm so proud
Ain't
of
nothing
you.
to be proud about. Like I said, the guy wants to be, if he wants to be miserable, I tried to protect him as much as I could. He want to be miserable. He want to talk about Uncle No Way. All right, whatever.
Your son has a wonderful mother, and she's clearly had an influence on him to allow him to be a free thinker and not be forced into the Giants cult. I'm so proud of him.
I'm going to be celebrating wins and monumental moments. He's going to be depressed if he wants to still go that route. I mean, he's still undecided about what he wants to do. He got the Yankees on his radar too. I'd rather him go that way.
Uncle Jason's got him. Uncle Jason's got him. It's all good.
I'm sending him to my house.
It's all good. It's all good. Send me your address. I'm when I go back to SoCal, I'm gonna load up. No,
ain't nothing to load up about.
I'm gonna get a nice package of Dodger gear for him. We gotta get this thing going.
It's gonna get lost.
Yeah, a number 50 jersey with Mookie. Yeah, give him a Mookie jersey.
Stop it.
To get lost.
Look, now to be fair, because the media didn't tell the whole story here. I didn't get him no blue Dodgers hat. It's that big league chew thing, and he just likes the LA because he's technically from LA.
He's from LA.
So yeah, I got him. It wasn't no Dodger blue that he had. Let's not get it twisted.
Whatever. You sound like me explaining why one of my kids is a Warrior fan. He was born up here, and it's just kind of the where he lived. It's no, it's okay. It's okay. And what's crazy about it is that I'm a hat collector, but now because of the whole social media world, if I wear any of my other hats that aren't LA, people think I'm a bandwagon fan. I have almost every team except the Giants.
That's how it should be. Absolutely.
I don't have the Giants, and I don't have the Phillies just because I could never wear a Phillies hat.
Be careful. Yeah, be careful.
I don't have the Phillies. I don't have a Cincinnati Reds hat for obvious reasons.
You got an Astros hat?
Can't do that.
Actually, I did at one point, but I'd never wear the Astros hat in LA.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of hats I don't wear when I go home.
Yeah. I would just have the bald head when I go back to LA. I
do that more times than not, or depending on where I'm at, I might wear a Raiders, but that can be tricky depending on what neighborhood you're in. So a lot of times I just go with like a black Dodger cap, just something black and plain, to try to keep the eye. Or I wear a Long Beach hat, which also can be tricky from the wrong. I can't win.
Just get a Seattle Storm hat. Like, you should be safe. Just get a Seattle.
I think if I wear some random team that no one's ever heard, that's the Atlanta Dream.
That's right. That's it.
And then I'll offend someone who doesn't like dreams. Something will happen. I
was gonna say Las Vegas Aces, but immediately I thought, that probably won't.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure the Aces. I'm pretty sure the Aces have been claimed by someone by now.
So. Who was that at the NFC Championship game a couple years ago? It was the Niners game that was wearing an NFL hat. It was an actor.
Damn, Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe. Yeah,
that's when we thought Rob Pelinka was at the game. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, just NFL. Like, hey, all right, way to go there.
And
Rob.
I can think of an acronym for that would get me in trouble, so I'm gonna stop.
On that note, Jason Jones, he's back with the Kings this Thursday over at the Athletic. Jay, we appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother.
All right, I'll check in with y'all later. All right.